So they have the Freedom of Expression Awards. There's a Freedom of Expression Awards, which is really, really exciting. There's a Freedom Forum, and somebody that you'll never believe is going to get a Freedom of Expression Award. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just play it. Let's watch it together.
I'm so excited to be here tonight to present Susan Wojcicki with the Free Expression Award.
That's right. Person who runs YouTube is getting the Free Expression Award.
Well, can I just say something?
Sure.
That I think this is an amazing move, and I want to say congratulations to Susan and the whole YouTube team. Frankly, I mean everybody over there. You're just doing really.
Ever since you got remonetized,
doing
you've
great
changed.
work. Well, you know, sometimes Royce, you gotta recognize people in the field of tech for the for all the things they did to fortify the election. And Susan, I thank you, frankly.
As the CEO of YouTube, Susan is facing some of the most critical issues around free expression today. When billions of people are on your platform every day,
How do you tell which ones are white supremacists and are not allowed to talk on your platform? Susan, comment?
how do you make sure that everybody has a voice but also feels safe? And how do you do that across the versions of YouTube that exist in 100 different countries and 80 different languages? These questions are important to me because YouTube
You're reading a script that Susan probably gave you, or her team gave you.
is where I found my voice. You might not be able to tell by looking at me, but I'm blind.
She's blind?
So you're saying I got a shot?
I kind of understand why she gave Susan the award now. It makes total sense. She's blind.
I'm sorry. I thought Susan Wojcicki was the person from Project Veritas. I don't.
No wonder she gave Susan the award.
But you are saying that there's a shot then, right? She's blind, right? I want to let you know, ma'am, that I am, most women find me irresistible. It's just weird. It's very odd that you and I met on this day. You're blind, and I'm the most gorgeous man that ever lived. What are the odds? You want to get a drink later?
You might not be able
You know
to
what the
tell
best part about a blind chick? She can't see you putting. I say that is a beautiful thing.
Jesus, Mike.
Sorry, was Susan getting a little trophy?
by looking at me, but I'm blind. I lost the majority of my vision when I was 14, and that year it felt like my life was falling apart. Until I found a group of girls online who loved beauty and fashion
And
as
that's
much
got to
as
suck,
I
huh?
did.
That's got to be weird, when you lose your vision, because then how do you find it, right?
How do you know when to stop wiping? Smell, I guess? Do you smell the paper?
Or do you just over wipe to be super cautious?
When I no longer had friends in real life to turn to, I found these online
I'm sorry, I gotta ask a question. People stopped being your friends because you became blind?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck would do that?
Yeah, those are some pretty terrible friends.
You pick horrible friends.
My mom used to say, if they're gonna like fucking treat you like shit for not doing what they want to do, then they're not really your friends. That wasn't going blind, so I can't imagine these were good friends.
To be fair, all of our friends before were deaf mutes. So now, how are you gonna?
The problem is that she spent her whole life in the archery club, so all of her friends were world class archers. And then they were like, well, I mean, yeah, we'll still hang out with you, but it's like not as much because we're always at the archery range.
creators to turn to, and they felt like my friends. I knew that one day I wanted to be able to build that same sense of community.
I spent my first 14 years on this planet trying to be the world's greatest sharpshooter, and then I went blind. It's very horrible.
Yeah, but knowing how accepting everyone is now, they're probably still letter in the Olympics.
You want to be a drone operator for the Air Force? None of that matters anymore.
Other people around the world who felt like they didn't fit in. And 6 years ago, that's what I did. Now, every single day, I get to share my story and advocate for a world that's more accessible for everyone.
If I was
YouTube
this blonde chick too, it'd be funny just to fuck with her, just to throw her off her game. You'd be like, stop staring at the camera. It's weird.
Yeah, it's making
start making her start darting around looking weird.
gave me that opportunity, and every day YouTube gives people the opportunity to express themselves and the freedom to feel like they have somewhere that they belong. The freedom that YouTube gave me is so important to me, and I'm so grateful. And that's why I feel honored to introduce to you Susan Wojcicki, the CEO.
What if it's a guy pranking her, but she can't tell because it's blind? What if it's Eric Andre in a wig?
That would be the greatest. Dude, 10 years ago, Eric Andre would have done something like that.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Susan Wojcicki.
Thank you for this award. I appreciate it. I will cherish it. I will honor it, as he's throwing it on the ground in front of her because she can't see.
Of YouTube. She's been called one of the most
so
powerful...
you're a YouTuber too? So how do you, first of all, those eyebrows are on fleek for a blind girl.
Yeah,
okay,
she
that's
nailed
very
it.
good work.
Yeah.
Secondly, how do you, like when you're doing your YouTube show or whatever, how do you do like the color balance? And because like I can see and I dread setting up the cameras as you do every day for this fucking, for doing OBS stuff. So how do you do that?
Someone's got a good point. Why would Eric Andre need a wig if she's blind? Fair enough. He wouldn't need a change.
Commitment to the bit, bro.
He does commit himself.
Andre commits to the bit. Let's be fair. For us.
women in technology today, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to point this out because we completely missed it. This award is sponsored by YouTube.
Well, yes, of course.
So Susan, let me put this up so people could see it. So Susan is giving herself an award.
Is this a bad time to announce that ROTC Media will be issuing me with a Lifetime Achievement Award?
She's giving herself the award.
Mm-hmm. We should give ourselves an award, dude. We should set up a whole award show, right? Like 5 different categories, and then we just take turns.
Sweep
We
the
just
category.
Keep taking turns winning the award.
But for creators around the world, we just know her as Susan. Let's take a look at her work.
I mean, I've heard her called other things. I'm not going to repeat any of them here because, frankly, they're disgusting. But I have heard other names.
Susan Wojcicki is...
Looks like a snail.
I mean,
She looks like her best friend should be a sponge.
If you were going to make an animated, like a Pixar film about a snail, I can see it.
You can see you're a Pixar snail, Susan.
shaping the way that over 1 billion people access the media.
And her sister is shaping the way we catalog and permanently record all of your DNA profiles.
That's pretty cool. Bravo.
She is unquestionably one of the most powerful media executives on the planet.
And if I don't say that, I will be demonetized, and they will keep my money.
They will kick me off of YouTube.
Video has never been easier to create, it's never been easier to watch. And so we think about ourselves as a platform for the next generation of media companies.
That's what you were. You were that
platform for the next generation of media companies. Which means, again, YouTube, which used to mean, hey, man, anyone can make a video. Now at least she's being honest, right? And going like, this is for the media companies that are coming up.
The next generation of media companies, Royce. You know those hot cutting-edge companies like MSNBC?
CBS.
And CBS News.
Wow. CNN.
Yeah, wow.
Ooh, next generation.
To be able to create content and to distribute it to the world. And I also really care deeply about the freedom of expression.
She cares very deeply about it, Royce.
What? No, you don't.
You don't think so?
No, you don't. You never have. Want to go down the list of people that have been deplatformed and demonetized? We're demonetized.
And the fact that people all over the world can use it to tell their story.
As long as they're black women.
As long as the videos say, are you a feminist or a womanist? Yes.
Are you a feminist or a womanist? A question a lot of black women will.
Black women are not asking that question.
The rundown, the
You
101.
can't even put what I love about this too is they won't even include the milk toast ones. Like I would be a little bit less right for optics, wouldn't you go, all right, well they threw Dave Rubin in there or Crowder, but not even Dave Rubin or Crowder. Do you understand? You could sell your mugs and you could be as clean as you want to be and try to play by their rules, but they're still not going to let you go. Where's Tim Pool? Where's Tim Pool? Look, we don't.
Oh, playing his guitar and doing 6 skate tricks.
I despise Tim Pool. Despise him.
Jealous.
He's completely full of shit, and he is a little bug man who's afraid to show his bald head. I hate Tim Pool with a passion. But that being said, he is representative of a self-made successful YouTuber, right? Like, I mean, whatever you want to say about the guy, he carved a brand out, and I know he's milquetoast, he's a fence sitter. I agree. But he played the game, and he built a little platform on YouTube, makes good money, and he's one of those guys. So, like, we're like, at least throw a bone at this idea of having all these stories being heard and pop Tim Pool on your little Brady Bunch grid over there and at least fucking go, all right, hey, they got Dave Rubin and Tim Pool on there at least, but not even them.
On the language of the blind.
Oh, wow, she thinks that hate is the opposite of love, Royce.
What?
She went out and bought a fucking $2,000 camera and a $500 microphone to tell us that.
I'm sorry, but this could solve the Israeli-Palestine issues right here. Has anyone told them?
Hey, guys.
The hate is the opposite of love?
Guys, you've been set to hate all this time. You got to set it to love like that doll from The Simpsons.
God damn it, you're right. Here it is.
Wasn't that the doll from The
Yes,
Simpsons?
the crusty one. The crusty
nice, and then they're like, "Why would you make this?"
Important that we have a responsibility framework, and that has been my -- priority. We're removing content that violates our policies.
Freedom of expression.
You just said that free speech. You just said it.
YouTube removes thousands of videos pushing extreme views. Extreme views are still expression. You might not like them, you may not agree with them, and you know what? They could be completely wrong. But when freedom of expression, you can't win a freedom of expression award, and then look, even if you're doing this and she's doing this, why would you play this in the video? Like this is part of freedom of expression.
You can go too far.
What? But that's not freedom of expression.
No, but it is, Royce. You're free to express yourself.
What?
Within the construct of this little box we've built for you.
What?
And that can become censorship.
That's like literally like having a pet bird with like the ends of its like wings cut off, and you have it in a little tiny cage in your room, and you go like, wow, that's so sad for the bird. And you're like, that bird is free. That bird is free to go anywhere in that very comically small cage. Anywhere he wants. He can go up on that little hangy thing. He can go down to where his water is. That bird.
You have a little bell. You got to have a bell.
That bird is free as, dare I say, a bird. And you're like, well, no, I think the ones that don't have their wings clipped and live in a tiny cage are the ones that are probably digging it more.
And so we have been working really hard to figure out what's the right way to balance responsibility with freedom of speech.
You can't say freedom of speech and then say it goes too far. One is an absolute, and the other one is not.
All right, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, right?
Yes.
But they just did.
Not only did they just do that, they're giving themselves an award for it.
They're all going to get an award, and what are you going to do about it? Well, at least we know where the money went. It's to make little
Susan's
plaques.
also helping to reimagine and reshape what's possible for women around the world.
Why do all of the, here's my problem, is that these billionaires and all these rich people that run these companies, right? Why do they all want to reshape the world? Like, it's a creep. Like, that entire impulse is rooted in narcissism. It's rooted in being a psychopath. Nobody should want to reshape the world. Nobody should want to make everyone like them. That's creepy and weird, and it goes against what we're supposed to be doing as humans. And it's like, if I hear one more billionaire or millionaire use the word, I want to reshape. I fucking hate, because if I had $1 billion tomorrow, they'd go, what do you want to do, Mer? How do you want to reshape the world? I'd be like, yeah, I just want everyone to leave me alone. I have $1 billion now, and I bought an island. Not I'm just going to play golf on it all day and shoot guns in the air, and I'm going to get drunk and die.
You'll die in a month.
Please leave me alone.
That's all. Ever since Susan started running on YouTube, the percentage of women in YouTube has increased significantly.
That's terrible.
Representation.
The reason the percentage of women has increased, because notice it's a percentage, is because you've gotten rid of so many men that obviously the female percentage goes up if you get rid of men.
Matters.
If women do not participate in tech, they're losing the chance to influence the largest economic and social shift of this century.
Influence the large. Listen to the words they're using, and they're winning and giving themselves an award for it. This is like crazy. Like this. Remember that old Apple commercial where they like threw a fucking broke the screen because this is that. This is what's happening right now. Influence.
Why is it they always project their own shit at Republicans and right-wingers, right? And they're always just like, these people are fascists. These people are trying to commit genocide. They're trying to wipe out, they're trying to ruin the world and all this. But then, like, every speech I see them, they're always talking about this massive shift and a new era and a great reset and reshaping. And it's like, all they talk about, all they think about at night is how to create a globalist fascist society. And then they constantly go, we got to watch those Republicans, folks, because they want to kill all your non-white children. It's like, most of the Republicans I know are just like that Texas woman we saw earlier that's like, hey, y'all coming to the barbecue? Because, again, I made a lot of macaroni salad, y'all. We ain't going to let a lot of rain stop us.
We realize we have really broad reach, and we want to make sure that we, as a platform, are using it for good. I know I can make it better, and that's why I'm here.
Susan, I'm so honored to be able to present you tonight with a free expression award for your incredible leadership with YouTube. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you've done to empower people around the world to share their story. And I'm thrilled to be able to ask you some questions about your perspective on free expression.
Now, I sent you these questions before and you approved them and edited them. So just want to make sure these are good.
All right, but then I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions afterwards about your depth perception.
Christ. She went out with Dan Crenshaw. They'd have one good eye between the two of them.
Could you imagine that? Yeah. I guess it's Ubers everywhere, huh?
Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much for being here and joining me here tonight.
Now, I know that your passion...
I'm still waiting to see, like, the barrel of a gun poking in on one of the sides of the screen with this other girl. Like, so anyway, you've been really, like... brave and just so correct. I'm reading it.
I'm doing it. Stop.
Just a tiny bit of the end of a barrel. Every once in a while, like a boom mic, like an errant boom mic on an old talk show, it just kind of pokes in the frame.
Free speech has been in part impacted due to your family's history. Can you share how your family's experience
specifically the early history section is the part I'm
Well, let's find out.
I'm interested.
Shaped your ideas of free speech?
Sure. Well, so on both sides of my family, they came to the United States because of the need or different kinds of persecution. On my father's side, it was due to political persecution. My father came from Poland, and for a variety of reasons, after World War II, it became important for them to leave. And my father escaped from Poland and wound up coming to the United States. And, my grandfather was never able to leave. He remained in Poland and was behind the Iron Curtain.
Visa problems?
I saw how difficult it was to communicate with him, to be able to worry about what you were saying to him, and for him to have concerns about what was said or what was even sent to him. And then on my mother's side, they came to the United States for religious persecution. And so I've just seen the real benefits that freedom of speech has, as well as representing all people of all different backgrounds.
So, but here's the thing, Susan. I know.
By the way,
she's doing her best.
Look, we goof on Susan a lot right now. She Tucker Carlson through that in a way. Like, you could tell she doesn't want any memes. She doesn't want any clips. She doesn't want anybody. But that was, wow.
So this is funny that she
tiptoed through that.
That she mentions that her grandfather wasn't able to come here because, and also her other side of the family is a religious persecution. Probably the reason that he wasn't able to say what he wanted to come over here is because his views by a certain group of people were considered extreme, and they were censoring his views because certain people in power found them extreme. Just food for thought, Susan.
I don't see what that has to do with anything. What's the correlate? You lost me.
Perspectives.
Am I getting my award?
The
That's all I
freedoms
care
we have,
about.
we really can't take for granted, that we really have to make sure that we're protecting them in every way possible. And I feel, because of my family history, a deep connection to those freedoms, and I'm very thankful for the freedoms that I have.
Like the freedom to censor you.
Absolutely, as we all should be.
Shut up.
Now, when I started on YouTube,
I could see. Good night, everyone.
Some of them are just too goddamn easy.
Good night, everyone.
Sometimes it's just.
Good night, everyone.
How many said it at home with us? It's the go-to. It's the go-to joke, right? Oh, she's hot though. Give her that much.
Well, I mean, yeah, she runs YouTube. There's something about power that
Susan, you fucking asshole. Oh, fuck.
all I really wanted to do was just be authentic and share my story. But of course, as I've grown, there's been more pressure to speak for others in my community. And with that becomes a lot of responsibility. And I know at YouTube,
I have a question. How do you read super chats? I'm not being dick. I'm being honest.
Well, Susan, she's friends with Susan, so they have a Braille super chat system for her.
I was gonna say, I mean, I pride myself on being decent at reading, you know. But if I get a couple drinks in me, I can barely read those things. I know Nick Ricade is the same way. How do you read them, lady?
Guys are always juggling responsibility at such a high level, always needing
Juggling, something else she can't do.
to try to balance people's right to free speech with protecting our community from content that can be harmful. So can you talk to us a little about that?
Yeah, no. Can you do me a favor and explain to the audience how you can reconcile giving yourself a little cute trophy that your company's giving that you've ordered your employees to give you? Can you reconcile accepting that trophy with the fact that you also, in the same expectant speech, admit that you censor speech that you don't like? And go, and please. You have 3 minutes.
And Nightwave's demonetized.
Sure. Well, first of all, we want to be able to have as diverse and open a platform as possible and represent as many views as possible on the platform.
There's no white
but
people.
we also need to make sure that there are limits and that we can see that sometimes we've always, since the very beginning of YouTube, have had community guidelines because we've realized that there are certain types of content.
And you're right. And at the beginning of YouTube, there were community guidelines. And honestly, at the very beginning, the guidelines were like, hey, you know, don't make threats, don't make death threats, don't, you know, do anything that's overtly illegal. And for the most part, you'd be like, okay, I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Basically, don't do anything that's already probably covered by some law.
By some other law. Yeah, exactly.
Like some of the very beginning, we wouldn't allow adult content, hate content, dangerous content. All of those types of content could really make it that YouTube was no longer a platform that was viable for all these other voices out there. And so we've always had community guidelines. But as YouTube has become bigger and has had more of an impact, we've seen the need to increase what we're doing from a responsibility standpoint. And this has been an area of increasing importance for us as we have certainly gotten bigger. And we call this whole work the responsibility work. And we actually talk about the 4 R's of responsibility.
Corporate culture is literally satanic.
The responsibility what?
It's literally satanic. these fucking corporate cultures and their little fucking cutesy ways of describing censorship and destroying people's livelihoods is like, we would call it our responsibility doctrine. See, what happened was we had noticed for a while that, free speech comes with problems here. And we've noticed that with hate speech on the rise of fascism, the rise of neo. We decided that these problems that we had on the platform required a solution, if you will, a solution that carried with it some sort of like real finality, some closure. Okay. Some sort of ultimate solution type situation. So it's like they don't even realize that they sound like the bad guys now.
So we sent all of our employees to what we call a responsibility camp.
Where they would learn how to sort of concentrate more on our corporate culture and our policies. Camps, if you will, where they could be re-educated, reshaped, remolded in our... and then if they don't, then we crush them. The huge. It's like they just don't see how any of that might start. It really becomes like one of those fucking old comedy like throwaway gags where it's like, are we the bad guy? Was it Monty Python that did the Are we the bad guys?
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies here?
It's literally thousands of people and a large amount of work across the entire company. But if I sum it into these 4 different R's, the first one would be remove, which is that we're always updating our policies and when content is violative of any.
Yes.
Because, somebody else, and again, I'm trying to compare, but somebody else had a 4R system that started with remove. Remember that was...
Yes.
Remember remove was step 1? And you see, there was this dude in the 30s and 40s, and, what he did was he kind of like kept rolling the plan out in sections, right? Like, he didn't just pop up on TV one day and go, here's all the steps. Here's the end result. No, he started with, hey, he probably started with R, restrict. Then it was remove. And then once everybody was removed, a lot of locals were like, hey, you remember Gary? And everybody's like, no, not really. Things seem pretty fine without Gary.
The show from Are We the Baddies comes from the Mitchell and Webb Look, which is a 2006 sketch show in England.
Okay.
Just for anyone that was looking for it.
Any of the policies, unfortunately, we need to remove it. And so we removed 9 million videos last quarter.
That number seems a little high.
Seems pretty high. Seems a little high.
And almost all of them, over 90%, we removed with
And you know
machines,
what? I'm never going to forget those 10 million videos that you guys took down. And someday, we will have entire monuments propped up around the world in memory of those 12 million videos that you took down. And someday, the children and the grandchildren of those 15 million videos that you destroyed are going to rise up and they're going to say never again.
And videos last quarter. And almost all of them, over 90%, we remove with machines, which is good because it means if there's content that's...
Oh, good.
90% of them, of the 9 million videos, they remove with AI. Just to show you what fair shake you get on YouTube.
Guys, think about how much money we're going to save in like 10, 15 years when we have robot Terminator cops shooting unarmed black teenagers instead of having to pay the fucking guy, 50, 60 grand a year plus overtime, plus pension, plus benefits, administrative leave, maternity leave, family leave, sick pay. All that's out the window. Soon, someday, we're just going to have robots enforcing everything, going around shooting your dogs and demanding. We're going to have Ed 209s demanding you wear a mask. And we're going to have robots in the machines that stop your YouTube videos before they're even uploaded. And I think that that's amazing progress.
It's violative. We find that really quickly. And the second one is rape.
So the problem with the machine stuff, right? Besides that, it's fucking totally creepy. Like it's very Skynet-ish or Matrixy. The problem with the machine doing that. So the way it works is whenever you make a YouTube video, right? YouTube automatically translates every word you say into text. That's why the closed captions work so well. They really do work well now. It translates into the text, and then while the video is processing, that text goes through a system, and if there's any words that pop, the video will either be demonetized or they'll take it down. The problem with that system is, and the reason that system is so flawed, it completely takes context out of it. Like, context doesn't matter anymore. So YouTube is doing like asset forfeiture, where like you're guilty and then you could appeal it and they go, look, my context was. So you have to fight for your context. You have to fight for what you said, even if your context was making fun of it, for example. That's why when the AI purge started happening, a lot of his history teachers you saw had their videos taken down because they were doing lectures on World War II.
It was all the buzzwords.
But the buzzwords were in there because, I mean, if you're talking about, there's no way not to have the buzzwords in there.
Sorry, we've deleted your account because you said many times, and you're like, I'm a historian at Oxford University.
Yes, what do you want from me?
Telling them what happened.
Yeah.
But you know what, Royce? I got to say, you're starting to sound like a bit of a spurg. We warned people about that.
But she said it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're acting like these... the behavior that you're saying that, Susan and YouTube are allegedly displaying, according to you.
Not allegedly, she said it.
Okay, but then that would make them a publisher, not a platform. And that's not true. So,
but it is.
But they still have all the legal protections of a platform. Why would the government do that? Why would the government continue to give big tech a free pass to be a publisher if they're their platform? Come on.
Because Google's giving them money.
Oh, stop. We're all dead.
So being able to raise up authoritative information. So, for example,
raise up authoritative information.
Yeah, remember this?
Do you hear these words?
Freedom Fighter of the Year. She's the Freedom Fighter of the Year. They give her a little statue. They're giving her a gold-plated statue of Patrick Henry.
I'm really glad at the ROTC Awards I'm winning the Big Dick Award this year. It's going to be great. I can be super excited for it.
In the pandemic, we served hundreds of billions of impressions that came from different health organizations, like whether it was the CDC.
But there was also actual doctors that you kicked off of YouTube for not agreeing with them.
Can we now just do an award show?
Yeah.
And just give ourselves awards all night?
Do it. I'm fine.
I want most sober.
All right, cool.
So
I'm going to get best reader.
And I'm going up there and I'm collecting it Dean Martin drunk. I want to thank everybody for the award.
Barricade Garage in the chat says her albino woodchuck looking ass.
Or the equivalent in countries all over the world. And making sure that people get information from the right medical sources.
No, not the right medical sources. From the ones you deem acceptable, you lying.
Question.
Yes.
What if...
this is a big if.
What if I made a video backing up Dr. Fauci's claims that the masks don't work? And then Dr. Fauci changes his mind, and then I forget... I'm a forgetful guy. I'm lazy. Mm-hmm. I leave the video up because me, stupid lazy bones, just left it up there. And now I'm fucking... So now what do? Am I going to now catch a strike?
Yes.
Because Dr. Fauci changed his mind and I still have the old video up saying masks don't work. Even if I make one that says masks do work, and then what if he changes his mind again and then gets 2 strikes? I'm confused.
Yes, but let me explain why. I have an explanation. You're a racist.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So that's the thing. If you weren't a racist, it wouldn't matter.
Okay.
So just don't be a racist. It's super easy.
That's fair.
In the case of COVID.
What's the ratio on this video? 7 likes, 3.6 thousand dislikes.
Holy Jesus.
You wonder why YouTube's trying to get rid of the dislikes? Do you wonder why?
But this, I know we always reference it, but it really gets me. It's just that Simpsons meme of like, am I out of touch? No, it's the children that are wrong. And it's like, no matter how much shit gets ratioed and downvoted and how much people really... And by the way, I'm starting to notice on Twitter, which has always been a very lefty place, I'm starting to watch the ratios on Twitter shift where people are... There's a lot of middle-of-the-road normies that are now starting to be like, okay, look, man, you've been gaslighting me for like 2 years, and like, I'm not a violent man, but I do want to start punching people in the face soon. Like this is like there's a bunch of normies now that are going, okay, come on, man, you're just lying to me. Did you see the guy in Minnesota that doxed the fucking EMT?
No.
So there's an EMT in Minnesota that donated. Get this. He donated to Kyle Rittenhouse's defense fund. How much do you think he donated?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes, I do hear about this. I don't know how much you donated, though.
10 buckaroonies. And this news guy got a listen. He went to this dude's house and was taking photos of him in front of his house and asking him to comment on him donating to the Rittenhouse thing. And he tweeted all about it. He was all excited about his it was Utah, I'm sorry. He was all excited about his fucking big story. He's getting dude, this guy just got off Twitter for a few days because he's getting fucking, and it's not all Mike Cernovich types. There's a lot of normies that are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like a lot of people are going,
he was an EMT?
What the hell is wrong with you?
He was an EMT?
Like a paramedic EMT. Yeah, definitely a medical first responder guy. And people are like again, not right-winger. They're right-wingers that pile it on, but a lot of people in the middle that are just going, bro, what is your fucking problem? What is wrong with you? That guy's just a private citizen, dude.
All because he donated? You're not allowed. So I'm sorry. Kyle Rittenhouse has not been found guilty or convicted of anything. And even if he was, you're allowed to donate money to whoever the fuck you want.
And it's like people were pointing out, too, it's not journalism. It's literally a crime to stalk, harass, and intimidate people. That's a law in all 50 states on the books. To harass, intimidate, or coerce people is a crime. And they're not doing journalism. They're literally trying to harass and fuck with this guy. That's a crime. You know, just because you have a blue check mark and a media platform behind you doesn't mean that you should be allowed to just straight up break the law.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And shit like this is just more proof. People just are ratioing the shit out of people because they're like, fuck you. And then what's the next stop? Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to get rid of dislikes, right? Just like Netflix got rid of the rating system, right? But even without the rating system, the only thing it does is make us waste time watching things that suck when we could find out if it sucked beforehand. But we still watch it, and most of us still go, wow, this sucked. So, like, what's the how do you gaslight us? What's the next level of the propaganda? Because once you remove likes and dislikes, people are still going to watch these videos and go, wow, that sucked.